here? Running Raider Radio. Did I ever tell you about the time I went to Good Springs twice? I don't care. I'm telling you now, shut up.
You may or may not be aware that the tiny village of Good Springs, the area that you start out in Fallout New Vegas, is actually based on a real-life, unincorporated community in southern Nevada. You may also not know that for a few years now, Old Man Liver, the latest owner of the Pioneer Saloon, the 112-year-old inspiration for the Prospector Saloon found in Fallout New Vegas, has organized a festival in Good Springs to celebrate all things Fallout. Known unofficially as New Vegas Days, though that name has been falling out of use in favor of the official name of the event, Fallout Fan Celebration. I went for the first time last year and loved the fact that it felt very much like your average community-driven insert excuse for parade here event. It was just a few food trucks, some arts and crafts vendors, local lore, and the central theme that makes people want to dress up or down to the occasion. I knew that after what I experienced last year, I just had to go again in 2025, visit some of the real-world locations that inspired areas of Fallout New Vegas, and most importantly, engage with the amazing people that really are the reason to go to this event. So that's exactly what I did. I wanted this to be a more cost-effective trip than I did last year and wanted to avoid, we'll call them extended conversations with LVPD and keep the story at that. So I decided rather than trying to fly this year, I would just drive down in my clapped-out picker-up, which, judging by the tripometer, you can guess that is a lot of time to spend driving, and that this is roughly the distance I am willing to go for Fallout. I also planned on spending the entire event camped out just outside of Good Springs, since a huge portion of Nevada is actually public property owned and managed by the Bureau of Land Management, so free real estate as long as you're willing to poop in a bucket and bathe with wet wipes for a week straight. All from a campsite on the side of a bumpy road that will rattle your fillings out trying to reach. I've put up with a lot worse for a lot less, so I was all in on that pain. I would also be lying if I said I wasn't trying to disincentivize Gooblicon from trying to invite himself again and be forced to share a one-bed hotel room with him again. And just in case you were getting ready to ask who was the big spoon and who was the little spoon, I don't want to talk about it. But what I hadn't counted on is that Radking, the harbinger of Adam's Glow himself, hearing I was planning on just sleeping in the bed of my truck, offered to change his room to a double queen and let me stay with him. So I only ended up spending one night camped out in the desert with the geckos and bark scorpions. It was also the best night of the trip to do that because the weather took a rather surprising turn. But more on that later. You're here for Fallout, and this video has been disappointingly light on Fallout stuff so far. This year, transportation in and out of Good Springs was completely different from how it had been performed last year. In 2024, you had to park your car on a bypass road outside Good Springs, and the shuttles just took you in the last couple miles into town. But this year, the shuttles ran between Good Springs and the Bison Steep, wrong universe, the Buffalo Bill Casino in Prim, so it was actually super helpful that Radking's room was in the Vicky and Vance Casino. I keep doing that. The Prim Valley Casino, directly next door to Buffalo Bill's. Both casinos, owned by the same company, went all out for the event, with the Bonnie and Clyde exhibit, which has actually moved to several different casinos in recent years, was put in the Prim Valley, and Fallout-related decorations, including Vicky and Vance signage and NCR and BOS flags, were hanging all over the place. And I mean, you gotta look at this attention to detail. Broken fixtures? Check. Unidentified brown stuff on the countertops? Check. Unidentified brown stuff on the walls? Check. Black mold? Check. Peeling paint? Check. Areas that hadn't been cleaned in years? Check. Areas permeated with a strange unidentifiable odor? Check. It was Sig smoking MJ. Lots and lots of MJ. It really did feel like we were spending the night in the Vicky and Vance. Kudos to Prim Valley Resort. Okay, piss take aside, Buffalo Bill's ironically actually looked to be in much better condition overall. I say ironically because of the three main casino/hotels in Prim, Buffalo Bill's, Whiskey Pete's, and Prim Valley Resorts and Casinos, Prim Valley is the only one that remains open for year-round operation. Whiskey Pete's was shut down in 2022, and Buffalo Bill's was closed earlier this year, opening only to meet demand for special events a few times a year. While I'm actually sort of against casinos as a predatory industry that isn't exactly known for breathing new life into a community, I will say that I'm a bit sad that Buffalo Bill's is sort of in this weird limbo between existing and not. If for no other reason, then I'd rather the situation be reversed, with Prim Valley being the one shut down and Buffalo Bill's left in continuous operation with year-round maintenance. Bill's was also nice just because it was just a much more laid-back atmosphere. There was music, but it wasn't obnoxiously loud, and it was mostly jazz, which helped with the atmosphere of the event. Wrong subgenre of jazz, but is better than being assaulted with wrecking ball at 115 decibels. After scoping out the joint, I met up with Radking, who I'd never met in person, but we've worked together on a couple projects, which you should definitely check out later, and we pretty much spent the rest of the evening getting settled and trying to figure out a game plan for day one, and man, planning was probably a good thing. So in 2024, registration opened at 9 a.m. on Saturday, being only a 2-day long event. All you had to do was hop on a shuttle at the bypass road, ride it into town, and get in line. Gublicon and I showed up half an hour early, and we still waited for close to an hour to get our wristbands. In 2025, registration was held at the entrance to the Buffalo Bills arena/theater venue starting at 7 a.m. Rad and I figured being so much earlier, lines wouldn't matter much, but alas, getting there 5 minutes early, lines still stretched all the way out into the gambling floor and did not move for close to a half hour. But once they were moving, they actually passed pretty quickly. It didn't stop the line from growing all the way out the front entrance to Buffalo Bills by the time we got our wristbands. At least for our part, it wasn't a terrible experience. Running back to the room, I donned my red-eye outfit, complete with handcrafted, mostly in China, partly in my garage, Nuka-Cola guitar, and returned once more to the Buffalo Bill to hop on a shuttle. I really wish that there were shuttles run to both casinos because even though they're next door to each other, these are still pretty big buildings, and it was at least a quarter mile back and forth, which doesn't seem like much until you've been on your feet all day and make the trip back and forth several times a day. Anyway, I decided since Radking had never been to this event before and I had been here last year, I would serve as a bit of a tour guide. I'm one of those weird dudes that likes watching reaction content. I don't know, experiencing somebody else experiencing something is something I like to experience. This line sucks and I'm keeping it in anyway. Anyway, I was there to give him the 411, so we started out making a quick loop through the vendor village, the area of Goodsprings across from the Pioneer Saloon that was set up for merchants of all sorts of Fallout and nerddom-related trinkets in general, from milsurp clothing and accessories to add to your cosplay to replica laser pistols to glow-in-the-dark Child of Adam vests. If you needed it, they had what you were looking for. We didn't browse too closely on the first pass, it was mostly just to get an idea of what was on offer, then we went up and waited. And waited some more in line for the gift shop. Even though my cosplay incorporated a canteen so I wouldn't be dependent on buying a $6 Sunset Sarsaparilla when thirst demanded, I sort of forgot to fill it up before we left Prim, so I was dying by the time we got in there. It was pretty much the same as last time, an itty-bitty gift shop full of various Pioneer Saloon-themed clothing items and very expensive limited edition drinks. I will say the Jones Soda versions were much better than whoever did them last year, not necessarily $6 good, but at least you didn't feel completely ripped off. Supposedly the Nuka-Cola Quantum was super sour and I wanted to try one, but never got the chance because I wasn't about to wait in line again just to try one. We participated in the Walk for Hope event, led once again by the great Fallout YouTuber Chipmunk, who is heavily involved in organizing these events, Old Man Liver, the owner of the Pioneer, and Zach from Nuka Break. It was pretty much the same circuit as before, just a short walk from the Pioneer to the school with a stop at the town's semi-pirate radio station and then back to the Pioneer. There is the new addition of a Poseidon station in town, which doesn't actually have a gas station, unlike its New Vegas counterpart, but a Las Vegas rat rod shop bought a property in town to showcase some of their work. Funny story, the dude actually found Easy Pete's dynamite stash in one of the sheds on the lot while he was cleaning up. You had to call the bomb squad to neutralize and burn it. Not a fun experience, I'm guessing, but hey, it makes great YouTube content. Anyway, at this point it was time for Rad and I to split up because I had made reservations with Destiny. You see, this year, the organization Fallout for Hope managed to rope in a bunch of actors from the games and TV show to do meet and greets, sign autographs, take selfies, even record video or voice lines if you were willing to spend the money. And there was no way I wasn't not going to get a soundbite from Wes Johnson and my autograph and picture with Courtenay Taylor. Now, if you don't know who these people are, you probably have a life outside of video games, but even if you've never played, I'm sure you've seen at least 1 or 2 memes with Wes Johnson's voice.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
That's Wes. He voices a metric buttload of characters in the Elder Scrolls, especially in Oblivion, where he voices the absolute unit that is Sheogorath, God of Madness. Yeah, I know, he's a Daedric prince, not a god. I'm explaining it for noobs, okay? nitpick later. He also voiced several characters from Fallout 3 and 4, including Fox, Mr. Burke, and I didn't know this until the event, but Mo Cronin of all people. I learned something new, and it also shows the huge range Wes actually has. While waiting, I struck up a convo with a couple. I believe the fella's name was Nat, while the gal, well, I didn't get her name. She didn't talk much, but after attempting and failing miserably to play the Ballad of Atlas for Red Eye's fans, I loaned Nat Red Eye's old guitar, and he did a much better job of serenading the fans while they waited impatiently to meet their favorite actors.
He's dancing on a rock 'cause it's too hot for him to stand still. And there goes a death claw, she stopped all her activity. Just come a little closer and have her next meal here with me.
I wanted to do an on-camera interview, but at the time I didn't have my tripod, so I planned to track them down later, and it just didn't materialize that way. Catch you next year, guys. You were awesome. Wes was an absolute joy to talk to and watch him engage with others. He recorded a very fun personal message for my family, my little brother being the only one who actually picked up on the voice, and another message that, well, I don't have to tell you, I paid for it, not you, but you may hear it in future videos used very sparingly. Dude was even nice enough to give me a great big hug when I started nerding out way harder than a grown-ass man with slightly graying hair should be allowed to get away with. Courtenay Taylor was also super fun. I was a little nervous pulling out my grungy, beaten-up old copy of Mass Effect 3 Collector's Edition out of my bag because I didn't have anything better for her to sign that was more related to Fallout. But to her credit, she just opened it up, looked around for the best surface to stick one, and asked if she could write something really filthy from Jack, her character in Mass Effect, and naturally I obliged. It was so great getting to talk to her about a series that I also love deeply while dressed up as an obscure character from a game where she took center stage as the main protagonist. She was also super sarcastic and witty and was just so fun in general. She fell in love with Red Eye's guitar and had to get a picture of it on her own phone with her holding it, which made me feel pretty proud that someone who probably sees a lot of very high quality props in their job actually liked something that I put together with wood glue, spray paint, and spare guitar parts I had laying around. After the superb interactions I got to have with both of them, I kinda came out of my shell a little bit and started just BSing with a lot of the other actors that I originally hadn't had a huge amount of interest in meeting. It wasn't well publicized, but they were actually letting anyone in to talk to the actors. You just couldn't ask for pictures, sound bites, or autographs. So I hit up Peter Jessup, Mr. Outstanding himself, Chris Chula, the voice actor for the majority of ghouls in New Vegas, who can just pull that voice out on a whim, which is just crazy to me, and Keith Sarabaka, who everyone else there knew as Joshua Graham, but I knew as Harbinger, the Big Daddy Baddie from the Mass Effect trilogy. But then I completely screwed up and said that I loved him as Saren, which he had an appropriately sarcastic response to that I'll probably never recover from. But dude, I have the mouth of a sailor. You would never want to introduce me to your grandparents, but I don't think I've ever used the F-bomb half as frequently as Keith, and he was mic'd up half the time. Dude's a legend. I said hi to Rodrigo Luzzi and Leary and made some smartass quips that I'm sure they don't hear a million times a day each time they do one of these events, but I didn't spend too much time getting to know them because, well, they're minor characters in the show and I made the mistake of assuming they were just there to fill out the roster because nobody bigger was willing to come out. We'll return to this point because later events would prove me wrong on so many levels. Anyway, by the time I was done, I linked back up with Radking at a modders panel, which, yeah, let's talk about those. Last year, the FFC was very much just a show up, wait in line, walk around, and figure out how to stay busy for 2 days type of affair. This year was completely different. Not only was there the whole, paying for tickets and having to shuttle in from a town 22 miles away situation, but that added structure, which last year multiple people said they were worried was going to start creeping in to soak up all the fun, ended up completely changing this event, in my humble random dude on the internet opinion, for the better. This year, there were multiple bennies running around organizing card games, Fallout versions of classic game shows, and there were several panels organized. Whether you were interested in learning behind the scenes stuff about the making of Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, the Amazon series, modding, watching speedrunners, watching Juve beat Fallout New Vegas in less than a day, there was so much to see and do so long as you could cram yourself into the venue. When the modding panel was done, we were pretty tired from a busy day of waiting, and more waiting, and finally getting to do interesting stuff just as it was starting to get dark out. So we were on our way back to the shuttles for the long ride back to Prim when I spotted Leary and Rodrigo Luzzi hanging out in front of the saloon, and Radking just had to get pictures with them, and since he was doing it, I figured I'd grab a picture with Rodrigo since Leer seemed occupied with something else, and when I got back to my hotel, I started pouring through my footage, and this is what I had waiting for me. I about fell off my bed. I was laughing so hard. After that, I had to talk to these guys every chance I got. They were just funny and really good sports about being here, all without pay. Oh, did I forget to mention that? You've heard me talking about how disappointed a lot of people were that they started charging admission to this thing, and even that I had to pay for the opportunity to meet Wes Johnson and Courtenay Taylor. But you may be surprised to learn that none of the actors were actually being paid to be here, and that none of the money people were spending to guarantee an autograph with them was going to them, or the Pioneer Saloon, or even to Affinity Gaming, the company that owns the Bison, Steve, and Vicky and Vince. Dang it, I did it again. No, the money here is all going to Fallout for Hope, a charitable organization that works with St. Jude's Children's Hospital. By the time we got back to the hotel, the day was pretty well spent, so we met up with the legendary modder Pig and the even legendarier gamer and streamer Al Chestbreach for dinner back at the casino, and was great getting to know some of the other guys keeping the Fallout community chugging along. It was a great first day, and things were looking up until I woke up at the crack of dawn to run down to the Buffalo Bills and check out the wristbands they were handing out, because back in 2024, you had to re-register each day, getting a different colored wristband each time, which showed whether you were over 21 so they knew who to let into the saloon, and this year, whether you purchased entry into the event. I was worried that this was also going to be the case this year and didn't want to stand in line for the shuttles only to get up to the bus and learn that we were supposed to get a new wristband. As it turns out, my fears were unfounded because it's a single wristband for the whole event, so I'm glad I didn't turn mine off the day before. It was a bit drizzly and prim, so I decided it would be wise to bring a raincoat, but drizzle doesn't come close to describing the absolute downpour we encountered in Goodsprings. It rained heavily all day. All those damn NCR troopers running around whining about wanting a nuclear winter went and jinxed it for the rest of us. I tried draping my raincoat over my guitar, but the head was still exposed, so I stashed it in a corner of the saloon until a small lull in the rain when I ran it over to the school, where I was able to talk to Anne-Marie again. In 2024, Goodsprings Elementary School had only 4 students, 2 teachers and a music teacher who came over from Sandy Valley School once a week to teach music classes. This year, they actually dropped to only 2 students, so Anne-Marie is now the only teacher left at the school, responsible for every grade and every subject, including music. Since I had no plans for it after the event and it was going to get ruined if I continued to hang out in the rain, I went ahead and donated Old Red Eye's guitar to Goodsprings Elementary as a permanent resource for students, though I probably made Anne-Marie's job even harder because now she has to learn enough guitar to teach the kids. Still, she was a sport and had a message she wanted to share to everyone who helped contribute to my fundraiser over this past year that raised $800 for the school after last year's event.
I just want to thank everybody on behalf of the teachers and students and staff at Goodsprings Elementary School for donating the funds to help us go on fun field trips and do other fun things. We greatly appreciate it, and thank you so much, Fallout people.
Saying goodbye to Anne-Marie, I headed back to the saloon and attended a couple panels, but people were packed in more densely than enriched uranium, trying desperately to find any source of cover from the rain. So after listening to a panel of Obsidian devs and actors about the making of Fallout New Vegas from around the corner, I decided I wasn't going to hang around anymore. I chucked deuces to Radking and set out to dry off and head over to the Atomic Museum in Vegas. It's definitely worth the visit, though I wish there was a bit more history on nuclear energy. Naturally, the Mojave is home to the primary nuclear weapons test site, where just shy of 1,000 nuclear tests were conducted, so naturally the big boomy boom boom stuff is what most locals care about the most. But it still would have been nice to see some displays related to the various approaches to harnessing nuclear energy. They actually had a number of Fallout Easter eggs tucked into the displays, a Vault-Tec lunchbox tucked into a diorama, a Pit-Boy displayed among a shelf of Geiger counters, an NCR flag hanging above a display of military stuff, and it was fun to look around and play the Where's Waldo of Fallout props. Some of the displays were pretty dang cool, like the hand-operated microfiche of nuclear weapons tests, the Forbidden Planet robot that inspired the design of Protectrons, and the uranium glass that, well, let's just say I'm not surprised that humans now have a longer life expectancy than they did 200 years ago.
With like background radiation around us, once I hover over it, you'll hear that it's spiking and that I wouldn't really recommend, eating or drinking anything from this.
All in all, I thought I had made the right choice to ditch Goodsprings until Radking told me that out of the blue, Walton Goggins and Aaron Moten just showed up and served drinks in the saloon for a bit, then disappeared again as quickly as they appeared. By all accounts, their security was super aggressive, and it was next to impossible to actually get near them to say hello, so it's not likely that anything would have come of it if I had been there for the surprise, but FOMO's gonna mow. Another loop through the vendor village with Rad, and I found McCall's art stand again. This year, she was wearing a pretty dang legit vault suit, but I just had to get some of her metal prints, and she even threw in some paper prints, so I officially now have more video game and TV related art than real art in my house. And you know what?
I don't care!
Day 2 was pretty much in the bag, and all things considered could have been a lot worse, but the weather did cast a shadow over our prospects, and I was sort of done with the event by that point. But I was still willing to tag along with Radking to see if there was anything that he'd missed so far, and see if I could interview anyone who was still willing to brave the weather on day 3. Still overcast, but much drier than day 2, Radking had wanted to head over to the Mojave Mayhem, which in previous years was just sort of an after party with blackjack and burlesque dancers. Anyway, this year it was an all-day event with some of the stuff that the community tried to set up last year and just didn't have room for in the tiny town of Goodsprings, like an airsoft range and cooking competition? Was this actually something people asked for? Like, no judgment or anything, it's just not something I would associate with Fallout is all. Anyway, we made it about half the way to Goodsprings and realized I had left my tripod at the hotel, so I begged and Radking agreed to be my tripod, and what a good little tripod he was too.
There's no... You are a wonderful cameraman.
We started the day off hitting a Fallout 4 panel with Wes Johnson, Katie Townsend, the actress who plays Kate, Peter Jessup, Courtenay Taylor, and Ryan Alozio, the actor who plays Deacon, who is, we'll say, eccentric. It was pretty great, and coming out of the panel, both Rad and I got to hit up Chris Chula, Wes Johnson, and Courtenay Taylor before they had to head over and start setting up for meet and greets, and we headed down to the vendor village looking for a quiet, low-key place to hold some interviews. Right off the bat, we ran into a very special ghoul to my heart who, to his credit, refused to break character, but dang, I was struggling to keep up with him.
So, thank you so much for agreeing to an interview.
No problem. Anything for the people,
All right, so a question I have for you. What made you initially fall in love with Fallout? What was your first exposure to Fallout and made you decide you loved it?
Well, I got caught in the bomb back in '77. That's where I got my initial dose of radiation, and I've loved it ever since.
All right, so is this your first time coming to this event, or have you been here previously?
This is the first time here in Goodsprings, Nevada at Fallout Fan Celebration. I mostly spent my time, the Capital Wasteland, the Commonwealth, but yeah, I thought I'd drop by out here. I was in, as you can see, Vault 33 out in Los Angeles. I don't know how I managed to not come to the New Vegas area, but here I am, finally.
All right, now that you're here, what do you find draws you here? Or is there something that separates this area from the places you have been?
Well, I gotta say, the feeling of community here is palpable. I have palpated it.
You've palpated it. How does it feel to palpate it?
It feels pretty good.
What's the sensation?
It feels like victory, like Nuka-Cola victory,
All right. Would you ever want to come back here?
I would come back here in a second, because this is a great place, I gotta say. And yesterday was a little rainy, so maybe the weather will be better next time. Though this is way better. Today's way better.
Yesterday was soggy.
It was.
Yesterday kind of ruined my plans for interviews.
It was a little soggy, but I did meet Walton Goggins, so that was all right.
I unfortunately did not get to meet Walton Goggins.
I happened to be going for a cheeseburger at the time, and the timing worked out very fortuitously.
All right. Well, I don't want to hog up any more of your time. I know you're very busy, so Thank you so much for agreeing to this.
Not at all. Thank you.
Right. And outside of the cosplay, you are Commander Shepard to me.
Yeah. Well, right now I'm Max Rads, but also I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite Fallout fan celebration on the Citadel.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, you heard that right. That is actually Mark Muir, the actor who voiced Commander Shepard in Mass Effect. So you might have guessed already by the item I asked Courtenay Taylor to sign, I was thrilled to get to meet him in person. He was here for all 3 days of the event, and if I had any brains, I would have carried around my signed copy of Mass Effect 3 around all weekend in hopes that I could get him to sign it. You win some, you lose some. Next, we found one of the more original cosplays at the event, a full-on Miss Nanny. Now, full disclosure, I couldn't hear her very well, so I sort of sucked on my end, but she was great, and my new mics actually worked surprisingly well inside the handy chassis. Definitely glad I picked these up instead of using the one that I was doing last year, which is not designed for this sort of thing. I did have a few questions for you. Number one, how did you find yourself here today?
I love the Fallout franchise and the video games, and then now the TV show is great too. And we came last year, and it's just the greatest event.
That's great. So, what is your favorite Fallout game?
That's hard. I started actually on 4, but I've played Vegas and a little bit of 3, and I want to finish that. And then some on 76. So I like them all, but I don't know a favorite. I guess parts of all of them, but 4 I've got the most time in, so I'll go with that.
4 is the best of all of them?
No, not the best really. Probably 3 would be best, or Vegas.
3 is the best.
Yeah.
Okay. So 3 was my first. 3 was kind of the one that got me into
Gotcha.
Fallout, and so
Yeah.
it'll always have a special place in my heart. So I can agree with that and respect it. Or is this your first year coming here?
No, we came last year actually.
You came last year?
Yeah.
What were you as last year, or did you dress up?
Last year I dressed up actually as the ratty skirt, like Valentine's secretary, that dress.
I loved that. I saw you around a couple times, but I didn't have a chance to ask you for an interview then. You were like the only person who did that, and I
Yeah.
was expecting a lot more of them.
Yeah, I did. That was just last year. I've seen a couple this year though, so more people are doing it.
All right. I will say the Miss Nanny, Mr. Handy is spot on. You did an awesome job with it.
Thank
And
you.
do the eyes actually rotate?
Yeah, well, yeah, I can move them. This one I can move. I can move them all. I just have to kind of do it independently. So
That is amazing. So you were here last year, you were here this year. They changed quite a bit.
yeah.
Would you say the changes were for the better, or did they kind of add a little bit too much structure?
I feel like these kind of events are just amazing when they first start, but I understand when we get this many fans together that they kind of have to go that way. But I definitely missed that smaller festival feel of just driving up and then wandering around and So I kind of like it earlier better personally, but I understand why it has to get like this, I guess.
I feel exactly the same way. I was like, the more I kept getting emails about it and how much structured it was, they were charging admission,
Yeah.
how all of the shuttles were coming from all the way from Prim.
Yeah,
it just started to add kind of that air foreboding. But I will say, there's a lot more to do here than there was last year.
Yeah,
Last year
there
it was
is.
pretty much just
Yeah.
walk around and look.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now it's actually like meet people and like actually see
You
the
could-
actors and the
yeah.
devs.
I feel like you can see that they put some money back in, like definitely. And then the town has to be supported, so
Exactly. So
yeah, I do. I think the speakers and all that, they definitely added more.
all right. Do you think you would come back next year?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll try to come every year.
All right. And last question, who is your favorite character in Fallout?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Well, I like Curie, obviously.
Curie is my Fallout waifu.
I
I
mean-
will say that.
I'm trying to think I don't know from each one right offhand. I can't. I know a bunch of them, but I'm just blanking. No, I'll just go with that, I guess, for lack of.
You're going with who?
For Curie, I guess, because I'm blanking on everybody.
Okay. That is a very good answer. I like Curie. Curie is good. Well, thank you so much for agreeing
Sure.
to talk to me. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you're having fun.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Another great duo is this actually pretty spot on Centurion, or Centurion if you're one of those weirdos that pretends you have the slightest idea how Latin works, and her personal standard bearer, so I had to do it.
So first of all, thank you for agreeing to an interview. So what is it that has drawn you here today? What made you say, I want to go to Good Springs and have fun with all these amazing people?
Well, we've been doing this since the first year. Like, I heard about it online somewhere. I've been a big fan of Fallout since I was a kid. My dad got me into it. It's just a good community. I love cosplaying. So.
Yeah. So you've been doing this pretty much since the beginning then?
Yeah.
Awesome. So having that experience, having seen it evolve from just kind of, they just said, hey, people come out and 1,000 people showed up and they didn't know what to do, all the way up to today where it's a very organized kind of corporatized event is how I heard people describe it last year. They're like, I hope it doesn't get corporatized. And it's like, this is exactly what they were talking about. So what are your feelings on how that has evolved and how the change has kind of affected your opinion of the...
I really like it. It's seeing, like, just going from maybe, like, a few thousand people to how many are here today, seeing all kinds of amazing costumes and how it's working out is really cool, the evolution of it.
Yeah. All right. So what caused you to decide I want to be a Centurion or Centurion if you're being true to Caesar's Legion?
I've always thought that the Legion was like a really interesting take for a faction. I haven't seen anything like it where you can play a true evil character. And I started out as cosplaying Wolves. I thought just might as well evolve that costume.
All right. And so what led to this duo of costumes?
So he introduced me to Fallout New Vegas, and I'm good at holding stuff, so of course I've become a slave for him.
That's a perfect match.
Yeah.
It is. So who is your favorite character in Fallout? It doesn't have to be in New Vegas, but who's your favorite character?
Snuffles, of course.
Snuffles
is great.
Snuffles.
I'm probably going to say Nick Valentine.
And your favorite game is obviously New Vegas.
Yes.
You are not the first person I've interviewed. Last year, there were a couple people who like their favorite game hands down was Fallout New Vegas, but their favorite character was Nick Valentine. That's very interesting that so many people who just like, and even a lot of them just hate Fallout 4, but they love Nick Valentine. What is it about Nick that you enjoy?
I just think he's a really detailed character. He's got a great story and feels more like a person than a lot of the other characters I've seen.
All right, so I'm going to guess you intend to come next year. What is one thing you would want to see next year that you didn't see this time?
Ooh, I don't know. I haven't gotten a chance to look around too much yet, but just more of the same kind of things. Expansion's always great.
All right.
I'd love to see more vendors around as well.
All right. How about you?
I just gotta buy more stuff.
Just got to buy more stuff. See, I only brought a set amount of cash and I'm refusing to use cards, so that's kind of my go-to. I ran out of cash day one.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. I ran out day two because we didn't spend that much time here in the vendor village. So, but I ran out very quickly. So that was my impetus to stop spending money. All right, well, thank you both so much for the interview.
As we were wrapping up with them, Radking started chasing squirrels. And by squirrels, I mean rats. The RC props at this show were so well done and dang original, but the rat was special for a couple reasons, the best of which was that it was being run by who else but No Bark Noonan. You know he wasn't getting away without me trying to get him on camera.
All right, so I am here today with No Bark Noonan. So tell me, what has brought you to Good Springs? What is it about this event that brings you back year after year? So I'm assuming
I came here because I was hearing reports of the chupacabras here, the invisible chupacabras, and I hadn't seen them in Good Spring, or in Novak, which makes sense, they're invisible. But I heard there was them over here, so I came to check out and see if that was the case. But otherwise, we also came for the Fallout fan celebration in 2025, because it's just awesome. You know, we make a trip out every year.
The invisible chupacabra. I love the invisible.
Careful, they're armed.
Be careful, they're armed. That and the aliens. or what is it, the underground mole men.
There's so many.
There's
the
so
cave
many.
rat that, you know.
And your rat is amazing.
Oh yeah, thank you. This is the RC rat for the day. He's been having fun, chasing everyone around.
So you've been coming here year after year.
Yeah.
I'm assuming based on my interview with this couple here, and I just learned through conversation that you're all here as a group. So what is it like experiencing this from kind of the beginning all the way up to what it is now?
It's incredible. I'll be honest. The first year we came out here, my daughter just found it online and said, "Hey, can we go out to this Fallout thing?" I looked online and I'm like, I don't know. That looks like there might be 20 people. There might be 200. You know, we have no idea. It's a long drive from California to here. We figured, what the heck? If worse comes to worse, we can hang out in Las Vegas and have some fun, museums or whatnot. And it was awesome. First year was just cool. So many awesome people, big time fans. And we decided to make it a yearly vacation for us. Come out every year, and it's been really neat to watch it kind of grow and grow. And then this year suddenly get all the companies actually attaching themselves to it instead of it just being kind of purely fan based, but it still feels organic. It doesn't feel like corporate took over yet, you know, kind of thing. That's what I'm liking.
Exactly.
All the booths that are like small vendors that just made things on their own 3D printer or something. I love.
Yeah. That's definitely the part that I enjoyed has been able to stay, is the vendor village and all of the individual small people who are still able to come here and enjoy.
Still able to come out. You don't have to pony up $3,000 to have a booth or something like that, you know,
Exactly. Yeah. So what is one thing that you haven't seen yet at these events that you would like to see next year?
Well, I did miss when the stars of the show showed up yesterday because we left like 10 minutes before.
Me too.
And I had a theory it was good they were going to show up. It was what a perfect marketing opportunity.
I mean, it was just pouring rain. Everybody was just crammed underneath any roof that they could get underneath. And so I decided to go check out the Atomic Museum.
Yep, that's what we did. We went there.
I went there. I loved it. It was such a blast. I went and stopped and got pizza. And while I was waiting for my food, I texted my cameraman. And he's like, dude, Walton Goggins and Aaron Moten showed up. And I was just like, you son of a...
Left it just the right time. But I think what I'd love to see is I'd like to see like quest or interactive things for the people who come just visiting to do. Maybe a way to sign up for a scavenger hunt that's sold as a side quest or something here, you know? Pay and sign up and you find certain actors or something would be cool.
I think there was one, but it's not very well organized or advertised. Like when we did the Walk for Hope, they gave us all a map with like various numbers for all the locations, but there was nothing like, what do I do with this? Like, is there a QR code?
You need
like,
somebody to write a
am I supposed to scan? Like, what are these locations that I'm supposed to go to? So it was very much like, I think they tried to do it, but it was very like last minute is kind of the impression I got. All right, so a question I asked last year. This is my second year here. This is his first year here.
Yeah.
So a question that I always like to ask: what's your favorite Fallout game?
Favorite Fallout, New Vegas.
New Vegas.
The Old World Blues specifically. DLC is my favorite.
Old World. So what is it about Old World Blues that you love so much?
The comedy. And one, it's got the voice of Dr. Venture, the greatest cartoon show of all time, the Venture Brothers.
Go Team Venture!
and yeah, just the voices and the comedy of it. Last year I cosplayed as Dr. Klein, so that was...
you were the
That
Dr.
was me, a Dr. Klein up there on the stage.
So black bodysuit,
yeah, black
the TV trays?
with the TV things, yeah.
I have been looking for you.
Oh, really? You found
this
me.
entire
I've been hiding
weekend.
out in Novap.
Yeah, so I saw you last year at a distance, and I desperately wanted to get an interview with you then, and I couldn't find you.
Yeah, we ended up leaving pretty soon after, right after the costume contest last year. It was so cold.
I will say, from a distance at least, like I said, I couldn't get close to you because so many people wanted pictures.
Crazy. Yeah, that's why I went with a simple no bark this year.
But it is on point. Your Dr. Klein is perfect.
Favorite character.
The only way it could have been better is if you green screened the bodysuit so that you could be invisible out.
Invisible there. I kind of had to go with the stage performance style.
Yeah. It was still amazing. Okay, so last question is, who is your favorite character from Fallout?
Well, I'm going to go with probably Dr. Klein or Morbius.
Dr. Klein or
Morbius, yeah.
So what is your toss-up between Klein and Mobius?
Well, yeah, I don't know. They're both just the lines, the dialogue, the comedy and between them. Almost I would even say the dynamic between the characters in a way that you play on. I really like.
Mine is usually Mobius is the good character and Klein is kind of a
evil character.
Yeah, he's the evil. So it's, who are you trying to be? Like, do you care about the people or do you care about
the science?
The science.
The power of science.
All right. Well, thank you so much for an interview. I am running out of these, which is a very good problem to have. Oh, I'm out of green. I'm out of green. This is my channel.
Oh, thank you.
As much as I was hoping to run into Dr. Klein this year after always just being a bit too far away last year, I have to say he brought No Bark to life in just that special little way that so few people can. As we made our way out of the vendor village and started making our way up to the meet and greets, since Radking didn't go on day one and I was more than stoked to visit with them some more, but we just had to stop and visit with some folks. Naturally, there was a Child of Adam adjacent character that I adored. Yeah, that's right, adored. That's a word a masculine man is allowed to use. Shut up. We also ran into some dude named Gary who got a bit violent, but we patched up our Gary and Gary. But just as we were finishing up with Gary, we ran into just the most perfect Doc Mitchell you could ask for, so you know I had to bug him for a bit. Dude saved my life, you know, it's the least I could do.
So what do you see here?
I see two ants fighting.
Oh, close enough. Okay.
Actually, that's not true. I see a bear and a bull.
A bear. Oh, there you go.
You're closer.
There you go.
You're closer.
You passed. You're okay. You've been fixed up.
All right.
What's up?
All right. So, first of all, thank you for agreeing to interview with me. It's been wonderful, and I really appreciate it. So, is this your first year coming here?
This is the deal. I came here last year, same outfit, and I'm with the Independent Wiki.
Oh, okay.
The Fallout Independent Wiki. My kid works there and is part of that group. and they're awesome. They, they've got all the facts about all the Fallout series, all the Fallout franchise. My kid got me into this and brought me here last year because they've been coming for like 3 years, and they brought me last year, and I had such a blast. The people are so awesome. This place, the community is fantastic. And then, so we had to do it again this year. And I did the same outfit. It's literally funny because I'm the only Doc Mitchell both years. I'm like, there's got to be another one. It's like, and I don't get anywhere without getting a photo. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I came last year. Last year was my first year. I didn't see you. If I'd have seen you then, if I'd have seen you then, I would have begged you for an interview because your Doc Mitchell is spot on. You can't tell it.
Sorry, I slept because of the rain, right?
Yeah, it's like you can't tell with the ball cap, but you are instantly recognizable as Doc Mitchell. It's on point.
It makes it so much fun. It's so fun. The people are so awesome.
Yeah. So, what is it that made you decide to choose Doc Mitchell?
My kid told me, he's like, my kid's great. My kid's like, you play in the game. I'm like, I'm not gonna. This was last year. I'm like, I'm not gonna dress up. He's like, you gotta dress up. I'm like, well, who should I be? He's like, you're old, you're bald, you're being Doc Mitchell. I'm like, okay, there you go. So my kid chose it. It's like, you look like Doc Mitchell. You got to be Doc.
Like I said, it is a match made in heaven. I do not have anyone in the games that looks even remotely like me, so I always get to choose like very obscure characters.
Oh, yeah.
And so this time I went as Red Eye, the Raider, and because he's never in game, so I could make it whatever I wanted. And I actually had a set of glasses that had a red eye and one black
awesome.
one, and it popped out yesterday.
Oh.
And so I just wore my normal shades today, and I found this in the parking lot on our way to the bus.
Perfect.
I was like, I could have brought it.
Yeah, that's definitely from the Ranger hat, definitely. Because there's a few of those guys here.
Yeah. So you and I are going to have a very similar perspective because last year was your first year, it was my first year. So the difference between last year and this year, what's your opinion? Do you find it an improvement to have it so much more structured, or do you kind of miss how it was last year where it was just make your own adventure?
Like today's super chill, so it's really great. What I like most, independent of everything, is like the people that I ran into last year that are here, different causes, and you can sync up with them like a year later. That's been great. So it's not, of course, the rain. That was a problem, but we can't do anything about that. No, I think either way is fine. I've been enjoying myself.
All right, so you've been here 2 years. Do you think you're going to be here next year?
Yeah, for sure.
Next year for sure. What is one thing that you would like to see them incorporate next year that you haven't seen so far?
I don't know. I think maybe like the way they had everything set up Friday, like they had things set up Thursday. Maybe you could do a pre-check Thursday for part of the people.
Pre-check would be really nice.
Something like that, maybe. I don't know.
Because especially this year. So last year they made us change armbands every single day.
Oh yeah, that was right too.
And so this year, like I was really freaked out. I was like, hey, we got an orange one today. Like, are they going to make us check?
It just fits right, so you can't get it on or
off. You can't get it off. Like I've showered with this thing 3 days, and I've been really worried it's going to come off. And like yesterday morning, like I was up at the crack of dawn. Even though he wanted to sleep in, we're sharing a hotel room, and so I'm up at the crack of dawn. He's still trying to sleep, and I'm like getting dressed, trying to run over to Buffalo Bill's to check the bands they have on the table to see if we have to go stand in line again.
Oh, yeah.
So a pre-check to not have to deal with those lines.
So some people got here early, so why not?
Yeah.
And then people that get there that day, that's fine. And then you could maybe do it every day. I don't know. I'm not an organizer, so I don't do that. So I would be the wrong guy to ask.
Hey, you're with the Independent Wiki, so you have to do a lot of organizing.
Not me. I'm tangentially involved. Those guys are awesome. Hey, actually, you know what? Here. So if you can have it, here's their. I got some of their stuff. Like this is like there's a sticker in there. There's the bottle caps they did for the wiki. They can take some of that content.
Oh, sweet.
And I don't think I have any stickers left, but I might have stickers left too. But anyways, they're such an awesome group of people. Now, oh yeah, I do. I got one sticker. No, I don't have any stickers left. Oh yeah, I do. I got stickers left. These guys are fabulous. There's a couple stickers.
Oh, sweet. You gave me like 4. Here, I'll take 2. You can hand out a few others.
Because they help put on the event, the Fallout for Hope. They don't get paid for this stuff. They just do that out of the love for the game, the love for the people. So it's such an awesome group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been really great.
And it keeps your head dry when it's raining.
You know, I've been coming here for a while. I mean, I came here last year. One of the things that I was really confused about, because like there's no, you are a wonderful cameraman. You're I'm not calling you a tripod no more. All right, so that's one thing that I came with a different friend last year. It's like he's a lot more cynical than I think the average Fallout fan who comes here. And so he's kind of going like, how does this help anybody? And so like having the voice actors here and dedicating their time to it, I think does a lot more to explain like that's how they were able to raise over $1 million at this point for it.
But I also think this is not really about, this is about the people.
Yeah.
Like these people love the game, they love the people, they love the community. So this is a time for them to get together and hang out and have fun.
Yeah, I mean, I was really worried coming here because, I mean, I've never met actors of any level of fame before. And so it was really difficult for me to say, do I really want to pay for an autograph and a selfie with Courtenay Taylor, or do I really want to pay for a soundbite from Wes Johnson? I was like, I gotta have it. I don't know what it's gonna be like. They're probably gonna be surrounded by security and super uptight about it. And like Wes Johnson let me hug him, and he recorded a personal message for my family, and it was just great. It's been an incredible experience. Even waylaying Mark Meer, who's not here in an official capacity. He's now done 2 sound bites with me. He did an interview a few minutes ago.
Nice.
And it's been incredible. So I tend to agree. There's a lot of very passionate people here.
And it's definitely about the people. Because I've been running into people from last year, and just great catching up to them, see what they've been up to.
All right. So couple last questions and then I'll let you go.
Yeah, sure.
So what's your favorite Fallout game?
Oh God, I do love Vegas. I like 3. My kid really likes 76, and that way you can play together. I don't know, they're all Independent Wiki. Here you go.
What's up?
Independent Wiki.
Yep.
See, gave him a sticker. So that would probably. I'm doing 3 right now again, and I'm having fun with that. But Vegas is good. I don't know. They're all great.
All right. And so last question. I'll let you go. Who is your favorite character in all of Fallout?
My favorite character? Well, I actually loved hanging out with Boone and traveling the wasteland with Boone. I don't know. And I'm having fun with Dogmeat because he's taking care of my ass all the time.
Dogmeat's amazing.
Yeah. In fact, it was funny. I was doing a playthrough. I went to go meet up with 3 Dog, and I was in a battle with mutants, and it's like, I walk out and there's this pile of ash, and Dogmeat had like taking care of the behemoth, and I'm like, wait a second, rewind, go back to the save. I want to be in this.
Wait, Fallout 3 Dogmeat took down a behemoth.
To be fair,
he took it
Fallout
down.
3 Dogmeat's kind of nuts.
Yeah, he did it without even like I was out playing with the ghoul. It's like he took care of it. I came back and I'm like, wait, what did you do? And I had to go back, you resaved, and get back to it.
I'm pretty sure that a mole rat took out Dogmeat the last time I tried to play in Fallout 3.
Okay, it depends on your level actually. When I say he goes nuts, later game, he has like 3 times the health of a behemoth. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, it's super crazy.
And then later on, you can actually get a perk that makes Dogmeat reincarnate as different puppies. Basically, yeah. Like I said, Dogmeat's kind of nuts.
Yeah, so that's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the interview. I'm usually pretty slow about getting my videos out.
Heading up the road, we ran into Chipmunk, who I had met a few times and had a few conversations both years, so I decided to introduce him to Radking, and Chipmunk ended up presenting him with an award. Neither of us have the slightest clue what for, so if you know, drop it in the comments. But Chipmunk is a great Fallout creator who doesn't have nearly enough subs for the amount of effort he puts into his content and in organizing both this event and a new one that they're planning in springtime in West Virginia. I'd consider it a personal favor if you'd show him some love when you're done here. Making our way up to the meet and greet line, we ran into Wave, and God, you're serious? Osama Bon Jovi. I had the pleasure of interviewing Wave last year, and she was just great, and seeing her around in the comments on both Great Gaming and Radking's videos, I figured she might appreciate an introduction, and the interaction was just, it was so wholesome. I wish I had got it on camera, but all I can say is I can only hope to have a fan reaction half as cool someday. She gifted both Rad and I an autographed mini nuke, so I guess that makes it a micro nuke? Heading inside, we tried to follow the regular line, but a queue was forming behind Ryan Elogio, so we ended up spending quite a bit of time gabbing with Leary instead, who gave a completely unprompted autograph to Rad's mom, and it was a pretty big deal. We also met Cameron Cowperthwaite, whatever, I don't know. But don't worry, I chastised him about the curtain thing, and Rodrigo Luzzi once more, and got to hear a ton of behind-the-scenes tidbits, and Cameron confirmed that yes, those were raiders, not NCR remnants that attacked Vault 33 in Season 1. My criticisms of Moldaver's plan is now canonically sound, if not logically. A couple wonderful highlights were me learning that Peter Jessup, aka Paladin Danse, actually voiced Sovereign in Mass Effect 1, which, not gonna lie, I still don't completely believe. And Radking just saying just the wrong thing to Courtenay Taylor and watch her playfully roast the shit out of him for like 5 minutes. It was great. You should have been there. By the time we got to Wes, who was all the way at the end of the line, they were already packing up, and we could tell that a lot of the actors had had a long weekend, so we decided to leave them in peace to pack up and start winding down, so Rad barely got to say hello to Wes before we were out the door. By that time, the weekend was pretty well spent, with the only part of Mojave Mayhem we realistically had time to hit was the burlesque dancers and booths, which is neither of our styles. So we just headed into Vegas for a little hole-in-the-wall pizza joint I know away from the strip, and that pretty much wrapped up my adventure. Before this all went down, as I had a whole extra day because I wasn't sure what drive time was going to look like, I once again decided to spend a day exploring places in the surrounding area that appear in-game. I hiked the mountain peaks looking down over Charleston Mountain, aka Jacobstown. I once again traveled to Spring Mountain Ranch State Park. I drove through Nelson and visited Chattacup Mine, which they actually let people visit portions of, which I'm actually kinda glad it was just a portion. The real mine is mostly flooded and consists of more than 3 miles of tunnels. The signs don't exactly make you feel very welcome, and honestly, some of the buildings were just decorated with random crap, but once you sparked up a conversation with the owners, you discovered they were actually quite a hoot, and the signs were mostly because a few dummies would just like up and barge into their homes thinking they were part of the exhibit. In the dummies' defense though, Google Maps does call this place Nelson Ghost Town, and I actually ended up here completely by accident looking for Nelson proper, so I wasn't exactly expecting anyone to actually be living here either. So year over year, I would have to say the experience was just completely different, and thankfully not for the worse. Of the dozens of people Gooblicon and I talked to in 2024, several of them mentioned that they would stop coming to the event if it became too corporatized, and to be fair, that definitely happened this year. For the first time since they started putting on the Fallout Fan Celebration, attendance did not double. The first year more than 1,000 people hit Goodsprings, year 2 was 2,000, and last year was an estimated 8,000. This year, I'm told the folks over at the Pioneer that roughly 7,500 attended the event this year, so attendance was actually in decline for the first time. For the first time ever, attendees were charged admission, with different tiers of tickets ranging from VIP to only single-day passes that wouldn't get you into Mojave Mayhem. Shuttles started their journeys in Prim at the Buffalo Bill, heavily incentivizing attendees to stay at the casinos rather than camping, staying with family, or staying in Vegas proper. Structured events were added, and some experiences were added that brought on additional fees and costs. My attempts at cost savings were thwarted entirely, and I will definitely be living off noodle cups and Blamco mac and cheese for the next couple months to recover. But last year, it was actually all the stuff around Goodsprings that I personally felt made the trip worthwhile for me. Driving through Joshua Tree National Forest on my way to Cottonwood Cove, visiting Prim, Hoover Dam, Spring Mountain Ranch State Park, Bitter Springs, all were loads more interesting to me than a roadside saloon and an accompanying gift shop that you had to stand in line for hours to experience. The only reason that I had come out again this year were the people. People like Wave, my man Ryan, who unfortunately we could barely find more than a couple minutes to catch up before he had to go host another game show on the deck. This dude I definitely wanted to give one of my custom 3D printed poker chips to after he gave me the idea last year, which I never got the chance to. Sorry, dude. I'll hit you up next year if I can make it. Anne-Marie over at the schoolhouse, Chipmunk, the multiple couples who love Fallout so much that they chose this place to get engaged, the towering beast of a dude who was once again dressed up as Legate Lanius, who gave me a pouch filled with bottle caps and Legion Denarii. But this year, it wasn't just the fans, it was the people who brought these games to life. Developers like John Gonzalez, who I unfortunately never got the chance to meet in person, Courtenay Taylor, Keith Sarabaca, Peter Jessup, the irreplaceable Wes Johnson, Leary, Rodrigo Luzzi, Jason Marsden, who I just realized I didn't say jack about this entire video despite being one of the most recognizable voice actors behind Wes and Courtenay for me, and all of the others that I'm too lazy to mention, all without pay to support a good cause and to engage with the fans that they well and truly deserve for their art. Those are the lasting impressions that I'm taking away this year. People brought together by the things that we have in common out of love and camaraderie to get sick staying in a smoke-filled rundown casino and try and decide if 11.5 months is too early to start planning the next one. Trips like this wouldn't be possible without the support of my patrons over at Patreon. Special salute to my officer tier patrons Carver050 and Josh B, and congratulations to Windwalker57, who was recently promoted from grunt to officer. Continued thanks to all my non-coms who keep the grunts on point. Also, just as a reminder that I have opened up my Discord so that it is no longer exclusive to patrons. There's just some places that only they are allowed to go. I can't even get in there. Okay, it's not that exclusive, but if you're interested in joining the Grey Gaming community, we'd love to have you over there. That's about all I have to say about this little adventure, so until next time, stay safe, and I hope to see you here later on Grey Gaming.